You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Everest Coaching Systems, ChiroThin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Chiropractic Jobs Online, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, True Chiro, and the Social Health Experts Summit. Let's hustle.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 80 of Chiro Hustle. That's awesome. I'm Luke Millette. Here's Jim Chester.
Hey everybody, so today we had the opportunity of interviewing Dr. Clint Steele, and if you want to know the truth in chiropractic, stay tuned. Well, the first thing we always do, Dr. Clint, is tell us a little bit about your chiropractic story and what influenced you to become a chiropractor.
Well, I'll talk a little bit about what influenced me to be a chiropractor, although that's going to be minimal because I want to focus on my chiropractic story. You know, I was 18 at the time, 19 at the time. My buddy and I were going to school to play college football, and he asked me one day. We were going to school to become gym teachers. That's what football players did, right? On scholarship, they became gym teachers. And we're walking down one day down the lawn, and he says to me, he says, "Dude, what are we doing, man? Like, let's do something better with our lives. Let's become doctors or something." And I'm like, all right, let's do it. And so we quickly transferred our classes over. And one of the first classes was chemistry. And our very first test, man, I'll never forget, he got like a 20 out of 100. And I got like a 46 out of 100. And he's like, "Dude, I'm not doing this. I'm done." And I was like, "Oh, well, I'm doing it. I'm in." So I ended up studying. I ended up, obviously passing the class and everything. But in doing so, what I did was my mom at the time was working for a medical doctor. My dad was going to a chiropractor. I had never seen a chiropractor in my life. I just knew my dad went to see a chiropractor. And so I spoke to the medical doctor, and he's like, "Man, this is not worth it," he says. And obviously some medical doctors, love what they do. This medical doctor didn't love what he did, and he just said, this is not worth it, man. It's high stress. He says, I'm constantly on call. He says, "Don't do it." And so I went to go talk to my dad's chiropractor, and it was in the 80s, right? So like these guys were like booming, right? And he's like, "Dude, you need to do this, man." And he was telling me, all the great things that he's doing. He's starting a couple other businesses and all this stuff. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to do this. Not really being serious about it, but the next day at the gym, I'd seen this guy there on a regular basis, like for a year. I'd seen this guy at the gym every day. We never talked. He was about my age. And one day, for some reason, we started this conversation, and he says to me, "Yeah, I'm leaving tomorrow for chiropractic school." I'm like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." He says, "Yeah, I'm really excited about it." I said, "Man, I've been looking at that." I said, "I'm thinking about doing the same thing." And he says, "Well, I'll bring you some information over to your house tonight before I leave." I'm like, "Yeah, whatever." I didn't think I'd ever hear from this guy again. He shows up at my house that night with information about chiropractic school, and I'm like, all right, I'm doing this thing, right? So that was kind of how I got started. My first chiropractic adjustment was actually at the chiropractic school, right? And I just remember how I felt afterwards. I felt like this weight of the world had been lifted off my shoulders. I remember driving down and driving away and thinking, "Man, I feel so light," right? That's just the word I kept saying to myself. And so, I ended up going through chiropractic school and get out, and I'm thinking, I want to go out and conquer the world with chiropractic. Everything that we learned in school, we had some great teachers that taught us, everything from, people getting better with asthma and anxiety and depression and all this stuff. And so I'm like, I'm going to go change the world, man. Like, people need to know this. And so I get out, and I remember I feel like I was slapped in the face, man, with the public just coming to me saying, "Listen, I'm on my medication for my anxiety or my depression, or I've got some neck pain, some low back pain, just get rid of it and I'll be good." And so there I am, having to pay my student loans, raising a family. So I'm like, all right. I had the insurance companies telling me, you can see this person 12, 24 times, because now we're in the mid 90s, and now the insurance companies are starting to pull back. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to go with it. And so 17 years later, I was still in this trap of constantly getting people out of pain. And I was on this merry-go-round of new patients. I had a patient visit average of 12. I think that the national average at the time was 10. I think it's still about the same. And so I'm at 12, and I'm thinking, I'm better than the national average, right? I wasn't starving. I was seeing, 135, 140 a week. But I was constantly under stress, constantly looking for new patients. And so at the end of 17 years, I quit. I was done. I'm like, I'm through with this. I'm never going to practice again. I walked away. And I started a couple other businesses. About 3 years later, a good friend of mine was out in Colorado, just crushing it, man. Like, he was doing unbelievable. And he kept after me, man. Like, get back in. You need to do this the right way. You need to do, you need to share the truth of chiropractic with your following. And so I went out and spent some time at his practice, a couple days, and just the testimonials of especially moms. I remember moms for some reason, just with tears coming down their cheeks, and just talking about how their kids' lives had been transformed. One kid was a 12-year-old bedwetting. He couldn't spend the night at his friend's house because he was still wet. He was still wet in the bed at night. And after seeing my buddy for 3 months, like totally gone, right? I knew this girl, she had 3 anxiety medications, man, 3. She was like 11 years old. Her mom said, I didn't even recognize her. She was a totally different person. And now after seeing my buddy utilize a true chiropractic, she was off her medication, and her mom's just crying, just like, I've got my girl back. I got my daughter back. And I thought to myself, how, number one, how have I been doing this for 17 years and I haven't seen any of this stuff like this? And number two, how can I know that I have the ability, I have the degree, I have the opportunity to change people's lives like this and not do it? That's selfish. And so I'm getting back in. I got back in about 4 years ago and just started sharing the truth of chiropractic with my following. And the rest is history, man. Like within 6 months, I was seeing 500 patient visits a week. Now 3.5, 4 years later, I've got a PVA of over 100. And people just constantly coming in, not with neck and low back pain, but with depression issues or anxiety or asthma or just whatever else other than neck and low back pain. And people constantly telling me, man, I didn't know this was what chiropractic was all about. Just today, I had a new practice member come in today, and she goes, I'm here because you guys gave a talk on what chiropractic really is. And she says, I thought it was neck and low back pain. She said, I don't have neck and low back pain. But what you talked about, I have. She says, I have dizziness, I have anxiety issues, and I think that you can help me. I think my problem is with the nervous system. And so she came in. Like, that's my practice today. And so I'm loving it. I'm working to help other chiropractors that were in my position earlier get out of that position because I know it's stressful, and move into the light, man. Move into the chiropractic truth is what. So I just rambled there for like 15 minutes, man. I'm sorry, but that's my story. I'm sticking to it.
So tell us a little bit about True Chiropractic and what's that about?
So what we do is basically we've set up a system that, when I started back in practice, it kind of hit me real quick when I started going out and sharing with people that I focus on the nervous system. And constantly people would come up and they would say to me, listen, Doc, I didn't know this is what chiropractic was about. I thought it was about neck and low back pain. They would tell me, I've seen a chiropractor, I saw him for my neck pain or for my low back pain or her. And, it helped, but I didn't know, I'm on asthma. I'm on an asthma inhaler, or I have constipation, or my son has constipation. And, I didn't know that chiropractic could help with this. And so very quickly I realized that I needed to educate my community and my following on the truth of chiropractic, which the truth of chiropractic is, guys, the bottom line is we do more than neck and low back pain. You guys know this. Most people listening to this, or most chiropractors listening to this know this. I'm going to tell you a little secret. If you're listening to this right now, you can differentiate yourself from all of the guys around you. I opened up a practice. I have 4 other chiropractors within a half a mile radius of me. And within 6 months, I was out doing all of them combined, guys. And the way I did that, I just differentiated myself by letting people know that I focus on the nervous system. And as soon as you do that, they're like, oh, wait a second, that chiropractor down there doesn't do that. He focuses on neck and lower back pain. Because what they see is they see the advertisements coming from these chiropractors about neck and low back pain, right? And so that's what they think chiropractic is. And so true chiropractic, what we decided to do is, in doing this, what we did, we set up a method, a system to educate our following and educate the public on the truth of chiropractic. Meaning that, you know what, the brain controls everything in your entire body through the nervous system, and when it can't communicate properly, it's going to cause problems, right? That's our message. And so we do that through research, we do that through articles, we do that through blogs, through videos, whatever we can do to reach our community. And so we set up this system through not only text messages, email blasts, blog. We do dinners with the doc. We do a lot of talks around the community. We do local interviews with local people, educating them on the truth of chiropractic. They put that to their following. So there's a whole system that we do where we share the truth of chiropractic. And so what happened was, as I grew this thing very quickly, docs started coming to me and saying, hey, what are you doing? Because we want in on this. Like, we want to be able to do what you're doing. And so basically what we did, we just set up the system so that we could go out and do this for other docs as well. Although it looks like it comes from them, basically we're producing the product and the content and the service for them. So we go out and educate their following so that they, in turn, can increase their PVA, which ultimately this is what this is about. You know, I talk to docs all the time. What patient's going to be better? A patient that sees you 10 times and then never sees a chiropractor again, or a patient that sees you 100 times, you know, and still going on a weekly basis or every other week? Which patient is healthier? Which community is healthier? Which one is making a bigger impact on the health of your area? You know, and bottom line, we all know the answer to that. So that's what true chiropractic is about. We educate the public on the truth of chiropractic. We do that through radio interviews, TV interviews. We do it through social media. And as people hear this, just for an example, I know I'm rambling here, and I want to get this information out, but we did a Facebook Live the other day on the immune system, of all things, right? How chiropractic has been shown to boost the immune system by 200%. So chiropractors, if you're listening to this, you don't know about this study, you need to know about this study, and your following needs to know about this study, right? And so we're doing this Facebook Live on this study and how chiropractic helps the immune system. Somehow, a lady down, now I'm in Maine, somehow a lady down in North Carolina sees this Facebook Live, and she comments and says, wow, I'd love to find a chiropractor that focuses on the nervous system in my area, okay? Now, I'm sure there's dozens of chiropractors near her, okay? But they all focus on neck and low back pain. At least that's what they assume, because that's what they're promoting, right? And so she says, I would love to find a chiropractor that does what you do in my area. So we have a searchable database on our site where true chiropractors are in there. She goes to the searchable database, finds a chiropractor that's like 5 miles from her. Boom, she's in, seeing a real chiropractor. Not about neck and low back pain, guys, because this Facebook Live was about the immune system, right? And so what we talk about is, just don't attract new patients. Attract the right new patients. Patients that get it, patients that want more than just to get out of neck and low back pain, patients that want to bring in their family because they want wellness care for a lifetime. And so that's what we do. And that's what true chiropractic is all about. So we educate the public, and then we partner with true chiropractors across the country to educate their following so that their PVA can grow, their stress can be decreased, because obviously when you're not constantly on this new patient merry-go-round, you're not under as much stress. Your income's going to go up. The whole world is better because your practice is better. Life is good.
Yeah, Clint, as I gotten to know a little bit more about what you're doing with True Chiropractic, it's definitely a position that needs more attention when it comes to media relations and sharing the story. That's one of the reasons that I believe that Chiro Hustle has been such a great addition into the chiropractic storyline, is because there needs to be more stories told about chiropractors doing, what they're best at, and that's taking care of people. And when chiropractors aren't taking care of people, you also know what happens to the momentum of a chiropractor as well. Is it's not always a happy place to be a doctor that's not taking care of people.
Right. Absolutely. Totally agree.
So you said 17 years, and then you came to like this crossroads at what you're going to do with your career. How did you get there, and how did you rebound?
Oh boy, I don't know if I told you this, Jim, or not. I may have. Basically, I got out of chiropractic. I had some money put away for my retirement. I started living on that. I started a couple other businesses. One of which was I was into acts of kindness. I really loved helping other people, and so I set a goal. I had a radio show at the time. I set a goal of performing right on the radio show. I put this out there because I wanted to be held accountable. I set a goal of performing 1 million acts of kindness in 1 year, right? Either myself or inspiring others to do that. And so I put it out there. And within a year, we hit 2.8 acts of kindness, 2.8 million acts of kindness in 1 year all over the world. We had people all over the world helping us and doing this. We were on news stations. We were on radio shows, the whole thing, which was great, but it didn't bring in any income, right? And so here I am starting to struggle. My retirement account is like dwindling very quickly. And I'm thinking, man, I'm going to have to go back to work doing something. And I didn't want to go back into chiropractic. And so I got a job selling Kirby vacuum cleaners door to door. And, it was embarrassing at the time. Here I'm a chiropractor now. Kirby vacuum cleaners, if you know, are great vacuums, right? And I did a good job selling them, but, here I am, I have my doctorate, and I'm selling vacuum cleaners door to door. And so Christmas was about to show up. It was like October, the end of October. My wife and I were talking about Christmas gifts, and, although I was doing pretty good, it wasn't the salary of a doctor, obviously. And so I said to her, this is not going to happen anymore. We're going to get out of this. About the same time, my grandmother had sent me a letter in the mail, and it just crushed me, man. She basically said, like this is this Christian woman, right, that, she was, I think, like 87 at the time, something like that. And she basically just gave it to me in this letter, like what are you doing with your life? Wake up and go out and live to your potential. And I remember being mad at her at the time when I opened it. I remember telling my wife, I'm like, I'm so upset right now. Like I was angry. And as it started to set in, I said, you know what? She's right. Like I am wasting away. I'm wasting my potential. And so my buddy had still been after me. Get back in, get back in, get back in. And so I said, okay, I'm going to get back in. But this time I'm going to do it on my terms. I'm going to share the truth of chiropractic with my following. I'm going to go all cash. So when I talked earlier about going from 0 to 500 in six months, it was 100% cash, right? I was renting a room from another chiropractor. Now, even my office space now is only 700 square feet, and I'll see about on a good busy day, I'll see about 200 in a day there. And so I kept my overhead low. I kept my income high, my overhead low, and allowed me to see more and more people. And so that's really what got me back into it. I started back and sharing the truth of chiropractic. People kept coming in saying, I didn't know this was what chiropractic was all about. They'd refer their friends, their family members, saying, this dog, because ultimately this is what would happen, Jim. They would say to their friends or family members, well, I've already tried chiropractic. And they say, well, no, you haven't tried this kind of chiropractic, right? Like, chiropractic is chiropractic. But what happens is so many chiropractors out there are promoting low back and neck pain, and some of them believe that that's all chiropractic is good for. Some of them, that's just what they want to do, which is fine. That's their deal. But as soon as you differentiate yourself from all the other chiropractors by letting them know that you focus on the communication between the brain and the body through the nervous system, boom, it's a game changer, man. And so I had people that said they've already been to a chiropractor, but they haven't been to a chiropractor like me. All of a sudden they're coming in, and they're coming back, and they're getting better. Not with neck and low back pain, but things like anxiety and depression and We had a girl with Crohn's disease. We have infertility issues, stuff that we know chiropractic can help, but I had never seen in 17 years in my first practice. And so that's how I got back in.
So do you have any favorite quotes or motivational mantras that keep you and your commitment going?
You know what? When I read that, you guys sent the questions over, and I read that, and I said, you know what? This is my mantra: is we got to reach more people. That's the bottom line. Is we have to reach more people. Too many people think chiropractic is about neck and low back pain, and because of that, most people have tried chiropractic. Not most people, but the majority of people that have tried chiropractic have been to a doctor just for neck and low back pain. Chiropractic for neck and low back pain. So my mantra is we got to reach more people. We've got to reach more people. And so what I keep going over in my mind is, in the first 17 years, I had 7,000 patient files and an average a PVA of 12. So that's 7,000 people that saw me for 12 visits, and then will probably never see another chiropractor ever in their life other than for neck and low back pain. And so that's 7,000 people I could have reached that I didn't reach. And so now that pushes me, man. Like I need to share the truth of chiropractic with more and more people. And just on the side, one of the things that really hit me, this is after I was in practice a couple of years already. I had a gentleman that came in that used to live in another town where I had my first practice, and he moved down. He lived in this new town with me, just a couple miles away. And he came in, and I was sharing him the truth of chiropractic. And one of the testimonials we have on our wall is this 21-year-old girl that had Crohn's disease. And within 8 weeks, she went for her regular checkup to her medical doctor. And within the 8-week span, her ulcers were gone. Her Crohn's disease was basically not even showing up anymore. And the medical doctor couldn't believe it. And so I was sharing this with the gentleman, and he says to me, "Oh, you remember so-and-so who used to sell insurance in our old town?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I remember him. I didn't know, I wasn't friends with him. I didn't know him personally, but I knew of him. We had the same circle of friends and that type of thing." And he said, just a few months ago, he committed suicide because he had Crohn's disease, and it was so bad that he couldn't take it anymore, and he committed suicide. And left 2 daughters. He had home, his wife, happily married, but left his wife and 2 little girls behind. And I was crushed, and I was crushed because that guy could have been saved if I would have shared my truth before in my previous practice, because he may have heard about what I did, and he could have seen me, and his life could have been changed, and that whole family could have been changed. And I remember going to my office and just I lost it, man. It still touches me today, man. Like all those people that didn't hear the truth of chiropractic that need to hear the truth. So that's my mantra, man. We gotta reach more people. That's it.
So what would it look like if Truth Chiropractic was able to reach more people?
True chiropractic, man. If True Chiropractic reached more people, we were just talking about this on our Facebook Live the other day. Some of these things that you're hearing about, some of these mass shootings that you're hearing about in California and recently in Pittsburgh, you know how many people, if they got adjusted on a regular basis, you know what would happen to insurance companies, you know what would happen to hospitals, you know what would happen to the medical profession, you know what would happen to the pharmaceutical industry, do you know what would happen to society as a whole? Like, we would be on a whole nother level, we would be on a whole nother plane in regards to this stuff that's happening today. It's just amazing. And so when you think that big, like you almost have to take a step back, because it hits you, man. Like, what a difference if every chiropractor out there today was seeing 1,000 or 2,000 families in their area on a consistent basis over a lifetime. I mean, really, guys, how many patients do you really need in order for you to be successful and have a good living and make a difference in your practice? I mean, right now, guys, I'm at about 600 patient files, 700 patient files, and I'm pretty much done, right? I have 2 associates now that are with me, and they get the new practice members coming in, unless they're a close personal friend or they're a specific referral just for me. They're getting new practice members because I'm done seeing new practice members, right? I'm done, because the 700 patients that I have, they're coming in on a weekly basis or every other week, and that's it. So if every chiropractor out there did that, we would not have enough chiropractors right now in the world to handle everybody getting adjusted on a regular basis. But that's what we need. That's what we need. Because it's going to change the world.
You've made it to Chiro Hustle. Sit back and learn from the greatest influencers in the profession. This week's episode is brought to you by Clothes for Chiro, Legacy Wealth Management, Posture Screen, Imaging Services, Zingit Solutions, Peter Goldman's Zone School of Healing, Everest Coaching Systems, ChiroThin, Universal Tractioning Systems, Chiropractic Jobs Online, Rhino Coaching, Chiro Matchmakers, True Chiro, and the Social Health Experts Summit. Let's hustle.
Well, what you said there, Clint, is a big reason that we really think we need to share more of the chiropractic story is because I think it was one of the greats and one of the founders of the profession, B.J. Palmer, was saying we need to empty the asylums. And
absolutely.
I think that not only today is that more relevant, but the asylum is amongst us. And the people out there, they just need to know that chiropractic isn't always about them not feeling good and them getting better. It's about them consistently having the elements of a healthy lifestyle, which can be managed with the chiropractor as a caregiver. And I think that that's where we need to cross the boundary of saying it's not because of you feel crummy, but it's because of your quality of life improves. And it is a human conditioning thing when we do have disarray around us and we do have, real concerns with people's mental stability. I think that is a real concern that chiropractors can fill that gap. And I think that's what people are always looking for. Where's the hole in my business? Where's the problem in society? How do we fix something? Well, I really think, Clint, that the chiropractors are solutions for these gaps and for these, how do we get this whole thing under control? And I really do think that people, if they were less subluxated, they'd have better qualities of life and the things around them. Even if they do live in a certain level of stress, they would be easier to mitigate the stress and the trigger response associated with the decline of health and inflammation and the whole thing when it comes to people actually becoming entrenched with something. And then the chiropractor gets that patient on their hands, and then it's a whole nother element of surprise trying to get somebody to follow that chiropractic lifestyle after they've been bamboozled with their own devices.
Yeah. You hit it right on the head, Jim. The asylum is amongst us right now. You totally hit it on the head. And going further into what you just said, for example, the other day we were talking on our Facebook Live about how the world will be changed, and we talked about the mass shootings. We talked about Hitler. If Hitler had been adjusted on a regular basis, would that have happened? And we don't know. Like, people think we're crazy to say that, but at the same time, like, let's compare it to this. I shared this on Facebook Live. Was that I had a gentleman come in for I don't even remember what he came in for, but it wasn't for road rage, right? But he came in a couple months later. He comes in and he says, "Doc, you know what? Can this help me with my road rage?" He says, "Because I used to get so upset when someone cut me off, and now," he says, "that's happened yesterday." He says, "Someone cut me off," and he says, "You know what? I didn't even care. Like, it didn't even bother me, right?" And so that's what we're talking about, right, Jim? That's what we're talking about. Like the less stress on your body, emotional stress, physical stress, toxic stress, it makes you more adaptable. So when you get outside stressors, you can deal with those things, and you're not gonna like freak out, grab a gun, or have road rage or whatever it is, man. Like, you totally hit it on the head, man.
Well, the thing, Clint, that we're both discussing here is that people do have a human conditioning, and everybody's looking for solutions, and whether somebody's subluxated in their spine, I think that if people are out there listening to this, most of the concern is the subluxation above the atlas. And that's the trouble with most people, is we don't realize how disjointed people's perceptions of themselves really are. And throw a little bit of pain in there, and then the medical model of what they tell people how to treat the subluxation above the atlas, or how they tell people how to treat pain. That's a recipe for people at high level of concern now that have not been given the truth. And when people fall into that cycle of, not being certain or happy or balanced in their own personal thoughts and feelings, that's an emotional stressor, which is a component to the subluxation. And when people start realizing that having good functioning spinal health has a downstream positive effect on their mental component, their physical component, and their overall attitude and personal health, they would realize that chiropractic was that truth that everybody's looking for. But, like you said, most people don't really think about the cumulative effect of being under chiropractic care.
Exactly. And so that's why the system that we've developed through True Chiro is so effective. And that's why my PVA jumped from 12 to over 100, because we constantly, we just copy the pharmaceutical industry. We are constantly educating and getting in front of our following with the truth of chiropractic, and we do that through a number of different ways. But that's what's so important. Too many chiropractors think that they can share the chiropractic story with someone in their office for 5-10 minutes, maybe take them to a dinner, and then they're good to go. That doesn't work, man. Why do you think McDonald's still has a $1 billion ad campaign, man? People know what McDonald's is, right? But why do they still get in front of our faces on a regular basis? Why does Burger King still get in front of our faces on a regular basis? Why do drug companies still get in our faces on a regular basis? Why are not chiropractors? See, social media has made us to the point where the playing ground is equivalent to a $1 billion ad campaign. Now we've got social media where we can reach the masses through grassroots with the truth of chiropractic. We just have to do that on a consistent basis and very, very frequently.
So where do you see the profession heading in the next 20 years if everything stays the way it is?
If everything stays the way it is? Well, I'm going to tell you, man, what I see here's the deal. You guys are familiar with Dr. Wayne Dyer. He talked a lot about, and I don't think this is his quote, but he talked about, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. So the question is, how are you looking at chiropractic right now? If you're looking at chiropractic through a lens of you know what, I've got an insurance company that doesn't want to pay, I've got a patient here that just wants to be out of pain and then be on the road, you're thinking chiropractic is going down the tubes, man. But if you're in a position like I am, and hopefully you guys are, which I'm assuming you are, I know Jim is, where you're looking at this like chiropractic is going to change the world, and we just need to get this out to more and more people. As long as we continue on our mission, then we're in a good space, right? We're in a good place. Because right now, this is what's happening in my practice, and I've noticed this over the last few months. I have 20-something-year-olds coming into my practice now on a consistent basis, not with neck or low back pain, but with other issues, or get this, guys, because they just want to get well and stay well, right? Because what do they see? They see their parents who are now 60 years old, maybe 50 years old, maybe 70 years old. They're on multiple medications that are starting to lose their mind because they're starting to develop Alzheimer's. They can't function. They can't enjoy their life. They can't enjoy their family. They can't enjoy the money that they've made. And these 20-somethings and early 30-somethings are saying to themselves, I don't want that. And so we are in a perfect opportunity. We have a perfect opportunity to reach this segment of society that already wants what we have. We just have to let them know that we have what they want. That's it. And so chiropractic is in a golden position in my opinion, from my perspective, as long as we can educate the masses on the truth. And so stuff like what we're doing, stuff like what you guys are doing is so vitally important to continue our mission and continue our consistency, because that is what is going to push chiropractic to the next level, so that we're not seeing 8% of the population or 10% of the population or whatever it is, but instead we're seeing 70 or 80 or 90% of the population, not for neck and low back pain, but for wellness care.
Yeah, I think you made a good point there, talking about people that want a quality of life improvement with chiropractic, and it's not to get you out of something or through something, it's to provide that ability to a person, which I think is going to have to be a huge cultural conversation as to almost as irrelevant as why would somebody want to stay hydrated and drink water consistently throughout their day? Well, it just makes you feel better, and it's a good way to flush toxins out of your body. And the more pure the water source, the healthier it is for you. And I think that if we looked about chiropractic the same way, well, why would you get chiropractic? Well, it just makes me feel better. It helps my body not get into that cycle of inflammation and pain. Of course I want it pure.
Absolutely.
I just want to go get adjusted and get checked. And if I need to get adjusted, I'm going to get adjusted because this person knows best. And they are a doctor of chiropractic for a purpose because they want to check me and make sure that my body's functioning the way it should. So I think, we're at some really cool realizations with what chiropractic has the possibilities of doing. But with doing that, I know you said one of the things with True Chiropractic is you guys leverage media and you guys do some cool things with promotions and marketing. What would you say your favorite social media outlet is?
Well, right now it's Facebook by far. But what's happening now, and I think you've probably seen the same thing, is Instagram is starting to become big, especially with the 20-something-year-olds. And so in order for us to reach that market, we're starting to get more and more into Instagram. But I love Facebook. Docs that come and say, you know what, I don't want to get on Facebook, or I don't want my practice members to be my friends on Facebook. Man, you're missing out. You're missing out, man, because there is so much great information you can share through Facebook to your following. Now, granted, it's only 10, 12% of your following, and even less than that is going to see, your materials, unless you're paying for ads and stuff like that. But it's still a percentage. And so right now, my favorite social media outlet is Facebook. Instagram is starting to come up through the ranks, though, and we're going to start getting more involved with Instagram, though.
So if you had one piece of business advice for a chiropractic student or another chiropractic entrepreneur, what do you think it would be?
Man, you got to make sure, number one, that this is your passion, right? Because we're trading time for our work, right? This is our work that we're doing, and we're spending our time doing it. And if you don't like it, if you're not passionate about it, if it's not making a difference, what's the point, man? Like do something else, right? If you're complaining, you're constantly complaining because the insurance companies aren't paying you enough, or you're complaining that the patients don't get it. Don't blame them, man. Look in the mirror, blame yourself, and then change it, right? If you don't like something, change it. And so if you're not passionate about it and you don't have the passion and the energy to change it, then don't be in it. Go find something else that you're passionate about. But for chiropractic entrepreneurs, students that are coming up through the ranks, man, don't be afraid to share your truth, okay? 17 years, I didn't share my truth for whatever reason. I don't know if it was fear. I don't know if it was, a money issue. I don't know what it was. But for whatever reason, I didn't share my truth. And maybe it's I didn't know how. I'm not sure. But, share your truth. Be passionate about what you do. And then just be consistent, man. You're going to hit roadblocks. You're going to see things that, you've never seen before. You're going to think, man, why am I doing this? Is this really worth it? But if you're passionate about it and you know it's going to make a difference in people's lives, then you got to stick with it. So that's my advice.
Yeah, that's really sound advice. And, I just want to touch on again that you were in for 17, you stepped away for a bit and you came back and you have all this certainty. Over that time span, what would you say over that 10 years, the past decade, what has been the most either pivotal or most important thing to happen in chiropractic as a whole?
In the last 10 years? Well, we talked about this the other day, Jim, I think, is social media, man. Like, social media has changed the playing field for chiropractic. When we're competing, it's like, David and Goliath here, man. Like, we're competing against the pharmaceutical companies that have billion-dollar ad campaigns, right? They're, like, all over the place. And so how do we compete with that? We can compete with that through social media, through Facebook, especially right now. But I know other forums are starting to come up and grow. But that evens the playing field for us. Plus, we've got an advantage because we are sharing the truth. Like, people want the truth. They know everyone that I talk to, everybody that I talk to. I don't care if they're on medication, they're off medication. They know that this medication is just covering up symptoms. Okay, they know it. And when you ask them if you would rather not be on the medication, all of them say, yeah, I'd rather not be on the medication. But they don't know what to do. They don't know how to get there. And so chiropractors are in a prime position to share that truth with them and be able to lead them in the direction that they need to go to be healthy and be well. And so I think social media is the biggest thing in the last 10 years to change that.
So we've talked a lot about business. Let's talk about leisure a little bit. What kind of things do you like to do in your spare time? What do you like to read or listen to?
What I like to do? I like to listen to Chiro Hustle, man. Come on, right?
Thanks, man.
You guys set me up for that one, right?
We tried to.
You know what? You know what I'm passionate about is just learning more and more about what I call true health, about true chiropractic. I love reading. I'm a big believer in personal development. Like, your practice is an extension of you. So if you're not on top of your game, if you don't believe in yourself, I'm telling you, your practice is going to suffer. It's not going to grow. It's not going to do what you want to do. So you got to work on yourself. So I'm a big believer in personal development. I love listening to books. I love audiobooks. I love reading books. I love doing interviews with docs. I did an interview the other day with Dr. Bill Sears, awesome medical doctor, pediatrician for 40 years, this guy. And he reversed his own colon cancer, right? And he says in the interview, he says, I realized that the medical model wasn't going to fix me, and so I had to move away from that model and move more towards the chiropractic model, which is changing my lifestyle, reducing the 3 T's, the stressors in my life, and that's how he was able to overcome his colon cancer. Now he's out sharing the truth of true health with the masses. His son is on the doctors on a regular basis. He's written over 40 books. Just a great interview. So I enjoy talking to people like that. I enjoy doing interviews like this. I do a lot of research on chiropractic. I love Heidi. I don't think you pronounce her name Havoc. I've never met her. I think it's Havok. Someone said the other day Havok, I think maybe. But following people like that, Dr. Dan Sullivan, and just being around chiropractors that get it, that share this passion, like, this feeds me, man. When I'm around chiropractors that are hating life, they're not liking, their profession, they're not liking the insurance model, like, it's a downer. So that's what I love. I love taking care of myself, working out, and so that's my leisure life, man.
So
I'm glad you answered that.
I know you're not always doing stuff chiropractically. I know you live out in Maine. So what do you enjoy doing in Maine besides chiropractic research and stuff?
I love getting outdoors, man, spending time with my family. My son and I, my oldest son and I just opened up a fitness facility, 30-minute workout fitness facility with a personalized trainer there at all times. Just a great new concept that we're loving and people are loving in the community. Giving back, I'm still a part of, paying it forward, acts of kindness. I love spending time with my wife and my other son. He's a senior, so he has like a mock trial. We love doing stuff like that. He's in lacrosse, so I love doing those lacrosse stuff and spending time. My wife has 4 girls, so we spend a lot of time as a family together, working out, taking care of ourselves, getting outside, enjoying the beaches in Maine. Yeah, just good stuff like that, sharing the truth of chiropractic with people whenever we have the opportunity, and going from there.
That's awesome. So this is the part of the show where we ask you for website links or social media links where people can find out more about you and what you're doing.
Yeah. One of the things I wanted to mention too, and I saw this in the questions that you sent over. I was hoping we were going to get into it, but you guys talked about my favorite social media, but my favorite technology. And the reason I want to bring this up is because I'm going to lead into this into my contact info is my favorite app or technology that I believe more and more chiropractors need to use is texting. You guys, texting, when I started texting people, when I opened up my second practice, and also my third, but my kind of my second life of chiropractic, I realized that people weren't answering the phone. Like I would call to confirm appointments, they wouldn't answer the phone, they wouldn't listen to their voicemails, but as soon as I text them, they would respond to me. And so part of our model, part of our system in educating doctors and educating my following in my community and educating doctors following in their community and their patients is through texting. Because 95% of people who receive a text open that text within 15 minutes, guys. 95%. Like, this is how we are going to educate. This is like email back in the day, right? Back in the early 90s when email first came out, everyone was opening emails, right? And so now email, you're lucky if you get a 20% open rate. Texting, though, 95% open rate, and so people open that up. And we're sharing the truth of chiropractic with people on a regular basis through texting service. So that leads me to our system, which is our True Chiro. It's called the PVA 100 Plus Club. Basically, we do the work for you. We will come in, we will educate your following on your behalf. It looks like it comes from you. We send out a text message to your following, whether they're current patients or former patients that might be reactivated. We find that increases retention, it increases referrals, and it increases reactivation. So part of that is texting. Part of it is still emailing. A lot of people still open up their emails, so we'll email still your complete following. We'll do a blog in your name, and we'll feed it once a week. And that's with research-based articles about chiropractic. We do podcasts in your community. We'll get you on an interview, do a podcast with other business owners in your area that have a similar following and make you the focal point of this podcast. We go in and do Facebook Lives. You make us an editor of your Facebook. We'll go in and post on a daily basis for you the truth of chiropractic with your following. So just a number of different things like that. Also, if you just want the text service, we offer just the text service. And a lot of docs love that. They just want to text their patients on a regular basis. Because here's the thing. I heard this the other day. Chris Burfield talks about this. It's not their job to remember you. It's your job to remind them, right? So you need to get in front of them on a consistent basis, which is what the drug companies do. It's what McDonald's does. It's what Burger King does. Get in front of them, remind them on a constant basis that, hey, we're here. This is what we're all about. Come see us, right? And so chiropractors aren't doing that. They do it maybe on social media, but again, 10, 12% see that, okay? So that's what we do. TrueChiro.org, TruChiro.org. Go there, check it out. We've got our searchable database there. We've got our blogs up there that you'll see what the blogs are about. Those are not the custom blogs, but if you want to join us, we'll do a custom blog for you. Has your picture on there, your contact info, and we'll feed it once a week. Also shares, we got lots of video testimonials, people, of true chiropractic stories, not neck and low back pain stories. We're talking, asthma and allergies and anxiety and depression and constipation. And we're getting ready to do one with a lady that had 4 miscarriages, guys. And she started chiropractic care. And the very next year, while she was under chiropractic care, she got pregnant again and went to term. Has a healthy baby boy that's 2 years old now. They had given up, right? They had adopted 2 other boys, and they had given up. And they started chiropractic care, and now they have a baby of their own that's 2 years old. So infertility stuff. And so we're sending this out across social media. People see it, and we say, go to True Chiro to learn what true chiropractic is all about. They're looking for a True Chiro. There's a searchable database. They can search by zip code. Boom, they find you. They're coming to you for something other than neck and low back pain. So that's what True Chiro is all about. That's our website. Check it out. You can also follow us on our Facebook page, and my contact info is there. We're getting ready, too, as well, to set up the start of the year. We're going to be doing some different programs, training programs, live training sessions with doctors. The first one's going to be Dinner with the Doc training. And so this is huge because what you find is, and the research shows this, actually they did research with a church, and they found that people that went to a church function outside of the normal church service stayed on average 2 years longer at that church than they would otherwise. And if they brought a guest to that function, they stayed on average 4 years longer at that church than if they just visited the church on the regular Sunday or Saturday night service. And so chiropractors need to learn from this. So what we do is we do a dinner with a doc where we have all our new practice members have to go and they have to bring a guest. And so guess what that does to our retention rate? Guess what that does to our referral rate? And that's the reason we were able to jump so high, and that's why we have a PVA of 100 plus. So we're going to start that training in January. We'll start promoting that here in the next couple weeks. I'm not sure when this is going to air, but you guys look out for that, because if you want to get involved with that, it's going to be live training. There's going to be limited space, so you're going to want to get into that as soon as possible. And we'll have other live trainings down the road as well, but that's just the start.
That's some awesome stuff you have going on. I can't wait for it to come out.
Well, I appreciate that, man.
So that pretty much reaches the end of today's episode. Was there anything else that you wanted to talk about we didn't ask you?
You know what, guys? I know I rambled, man. Like, you guys ask me questions, and I get passionate, man, and I just talk about this. But guys, I want to make sure that you guys know how appreciative I am, and so many chiropractors are out there of what you guys are doing. Like you guys aren't even chiropractors, and you're doing more for the profession than a lot of chiropractors are. And Jim, I told you this. I had you on my list to contact, and so when we met down in Florida, like it was like boom, like the stars went out and the bells chimed, and it's like, oh, this is it, man. So guys, I just want to thank you for everything that you're doing, what you're doing for the profession, what you're doing for me, what you're doing for so many people out in the public, getting them to know the truth of chiropractic, because you guys are saving lives. You guys are saving lives, and you're you don't have the degree, but you're out there saving lives because you're educating people on the truth of chiropractic. So thank you for all the work that you're doing.
Humbly, as a spokesperson for the Chiro Hustle team, I saw a big vision that there was there was a gap that needed filled, and there was a solution-minded interest in this. And I really thought that a chiropractor talking their own talk was one thing, but advocacy and a platform for chiropractors to talk their talk was a whole nother thing. So it's really cool to hold the space that we do, to be able to put on such quality guests and share, like you call it, the truth in chiropractic. So thank you for being our guest and allowing us to hold that space and to be able to produce and develop content that people are getting the truth from.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. I appreciate it.
All right, Dr. Steele, thank you again, and we just want you to enjoy the rest of your day.
Awesome. That was great, guys. I really appreciate it.
All right, we'll talk soon.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Yep.
Bye.
All right. Bye.
Thanks for listening to Chiro Hustle. Don't forget to subscribe and check back next week to continue hustling.